If you want to see battle, if you want to see two guys get after each other, destroy each other, yell at each other, call each other names because they think their opinion or their belief system is the only one that is valid, then you rather watch a politically charged video or any news media outlet that is out there, my friends, because this is not what's happening in this video. Louka and I, we have discovered that we have so much in common, so many similarities, and it was just an enlightening moment to talk to him. I've learned a lot because I'm always open to learn from guys like him, because there's always a win-win situation when you talk to folks and you're open-minded and you know they got their game down pat, and Louka knows his stuff. So check out this conversation that I've had with him. It's gonna blow your mind and you will learn a lot from it. Grüezi miteinander, Gregory for Lebe. Let's make this distinction right off the bat. Yes, there are differences between the kettlebell sport and the hardstyle, but they're only in the ballistics. And the funny thing is, I'm even a hybrid. I mentioned this in the video later. I felt the sense of tribalism come up when I went deeper into the kettlebell sport, and I had to pull it back because I want to stay open-minded. If you got the sense of tribalism going on, sometimes you get narrow-minded, you close your eyes to stuff where you can learn from, and I wanted to avoid this. So I found out, actually, I'm a hybrid. So I'm learning a lot from Louka in this conversation. Oh, these dudes get along with each other. Oh, I didn't know.
I think you're right. You know, people, they always say, okay, which style is best? And there's a debate going on in the industry, but you got to find what works for you. And each person is different. You know, everyone has a style. It's like, you know, if you're a dancer, I'm not going to force you to do break dance if you're a ballet dancer. You got to find what you enjoy. And then if you were exposed to sport before hardstyle or vice versa, maybe you're going to stick with that. Kind of like martial arts, you know, you go with the one that attracts you the most. So.
Yeah, and you mentioned something very interesting, because you said that I saw that on your Instagram, and I think I can't remember who first posted this, but it was there was a debate. I was watching not a debate, but I was watching one of the podcast clips from Joe Rogan with Pavel, and then Pavel was talking about the differences between barbells, dumbbells, kettlebells.
Correct.
And somebody commented. While all these points are valid, somebody commented one thing that you have posted on your Instagram as well, is the one training tool or the one workout method that is the best for you is the one you can do the most, the one you enjoy, the one you love, and that's it. That's it. Sometimes
it's like you know, a same thing for workout. You know, there's no perfect workout. There's no best workout. It's the one that suits you. If you enjoy doing Zumba, then, you know.
Yeah, enjoy it. More power to you. You know, I was just reacting to, you know, because the funny thing with these reactions, man, is I did one video with these reactions, the Joe Rogan bit, where I was reacting to his double clean technique. And this one took off, and then I started just, you know, I found, okay, this is what people like, so we started with these reactions. And I just recently did one on a very funny training equipment tool that is just, you know, and I was talking about the idea that sometimes you get so many businesses and you know, in the fitness industry, they take advantage of you because you're trying to lose weight, you want to get ahead, you want to work out, and then they sell you some crap, right?
Yeah.
Because you're in that notion, you don't know what works for you, and you think, okay, that works for me, so I'm going to try this one. So I reacted to this equipment. And while I reacted to it, I said, well, the girl that is using that equipment, she's having fun doing it. So while I still believe this is not the best use of your time, if you enjoy it, you might as well go ahead. Yeah.
Absolutely. Just a little side note on the Joe Rogan thing. I actually think from what I heard, rumors is that he hurt his back filming that video.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think this is what I heard. Through the grapevine.
That's funny, because I've heard from Steve Cotter, he shared that story that he probably injured his shoulders.
Yeah.
And I mean, he picked up some pretty heavy weights. I don't know what it was. But I mean, when you look at it, the way he's shaking, no stability, and always externally rotating the shoulder, dropping the kettlebells on the shoulders.
The 32s.
Man, 32s. It was 32s?
32s, yeah.
Oh my God. And see, that's, so that's the reason why I reacted to it, because I remember watching that bit the first time when I wasn't that much into kettlebells. And I was like, ooh, it looks a bit tricky. I don't know.
It's good to have a laugh at those things, when you become an instructor and you become more advanced than these guys, but the regular person doesn't know anything. They don't know the difference. And they'll look up to that. They'll say, oh, let me try that. And that's the problem, is that they look at some folks, or you could say influencers, that have bad form, bad technique, and they'll go ahead and try it, and they'll hurt themselves. So, so we have to be louder than those guys. We have to have a louder voice and put our stuff out there.
You mentioned something that's so interesting. I got all these points written down, Louka, and we started touching on these already. Just for folks who are watching this interview now, just how we got connected. Let me tell you how the first time I saw you was, I saw a video from you where you were comparing the hardstyle snatch with the kettlebell sports snatch. That was the first video that I saw from you.
Cool.
And then I started following you on Instagram, because I believe in, even though I have to admit, I felt some sense of tribalism going into kettlebells, being taught by Steve Cotter, then talking to all these Russian dudes. And then I felt that sense of tribalism come up, where it's like, what's better, kettlebell sport, hardstyle? And so you get the tribalism feeling, and then I had to really cut it down and pull that feeling back down, because I told myself, listen, man, I'm actually a hybrid. Because when you look at the sport guys, what they do is the jerk, the snatch, and the long cycle. That's it. They don't do no swings, no goblet squats, no Turkish get-ups, nothing like that. So, and Steve categorized these exercises as grinding lifts, which we also do.
Yep,
so, and I think this is one of the venues where we totally connect, because I love the Turkish get-up just as much as you do. And
awesome.
That's that great story, how you shared that great input about the Turkish get-up, which I really want you to elaborate on it a little bit, because you saw it on Angie, and you had that great input.
Yeah, just to backtrack a little bit, people saying, okay, you're talking about what's better, hardstyle or GS, and there's hybrids and all this. It's like saying, what's better, marathon running or sprinting? It's really your choice, and if you want to do a little bit of both, then go ahead, enjoy it. So I really respect you guys, and I don't know who followed who first, but I know I definitely been following you guys for a little bit, you and Angie, and you guys are amazing.
Thank you so much, Louka.
So much
Thank you,
respect for what you do in your YouTube channel and everything. So just want to put it out there first.
Thank you so much.
And, then I started following Angie and checking out her stuff and what you guys are up to, and I see this you could say common mistake that people are doing, because first of all, we're all about safety. We want to avoid injury. We want to do the movement strongly and take out anything that could potentially hurt yourself. And we always talk about neutral spine in most of the grinds when you're doing a deadlift or whatever, have press, get up, especially as well. There's a lot of rotation happening, but you don't want to combine both the rotation and the twisting and the bending. So you want to just be careful with your lower back. And this movement, it's a lower back bending movement that I see often happen with some of the practitioners. But I said, why don't I share it with her, and in a way that would be respectful, non-invasive way. That is you always have to ask people, would it be okay? Because people don't always accept feedback, and I don't know how she's gonna react, right? I don't know her. I don't really know you guys. I know you because I watch you guys, I follow you, but I don't know you personally. So I think it's always best to get and then personally message someone rather than comment, make a post on their video or whatever. That way other people can see it's not professional. So I think it's always best to, as coaches, have be a student So you want to always be a student, that you always want to have that learning mentality, that you're open to learning. And if you're a teacher, you're both a student and a teacher at the same time. So any teacher, you've got to have that beginner's mind, that you're open to learning, taking other people's feedback, and you just absorb it. And it doesn't mean you have to do it, but you take it, you could say, with a grain of salt. And if you like it, then you apply it. If not, no problem. You know, you do what you want with it. So I always look at it that way. If I could give you some feedback, if you like it, if it works for you, take it, and then it's yours. You know, otherwise, then keep doing what you're doing if it works for you.
I really liked it, and I like the mentality that you're saying is, I put it like this, I have the same mindset. I'm always telling myself the teacher is the most excelling student. That's it. That's just the guy or the gal who took so much value out of what this person learned, that now they're able to share it. And what makes a very great teacher is somebody who's still humble, still accepting stuff. And you know why? Just to digress a little bit, I don't want to digress too much because that's one of my habits. So just bear with me. Is the idea that I have learned so much stuff from our YouTube comments. While there are online trolls, and if you're experiencing growth a little bit, then you have.
Yeah, you're gonna get that.
And sometimes you get really, really nasty ones. It's off the hook. Somebody was even so mad at what we're doing that I really had to. One time I had to say like, hey, listen, man, if you don't stop acting like this, you're gone. I'm gonna block you. All right. So yeah, that sometimes happens. These trolls.
You know, they have the audacity to come on your channel and comment on the hard work you've been putting in.
Which, you know, if
this is gonna happen.
If you add to it, you know, if you add constructive feedback, and sometimes that's why I'm saying I'm learning from some of these comments. Somebody just commented recently, said, you know what you guys are doing? You're following the KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid.
Correct.
And I never heard about that principle. I was like, I like that. And after reading the Simple and Sinister book from Pavel, I even like it even more because of the simple aspect of training. Don't make it too complicated, which I really love.
You got it.
So now, just to push this forward, you taught us this move with the Turkish get up, and one thing that you mentioned that I've also read in the book from Starting Strength, the book from Mark Ripto, where he says that the most problematic thing for the spine is loading it while rotating it. All right, so that's like putting your lawnmower into your truck. This is where you hurt yourself. Right. Correct. So what you're saying makes totally sense.
There's going to be movements that you're going to have to load your spine while rotation, such as the get up, it happens, the windmill, it happens, the bent press, it happens. But we're more rotating the T-spine. We're working on the T-spine mobility. So mobility is one of the big things people need in order to do those movements. If they're tight, they're going to have issues. So they got to work on opening up, having that T-spine mobility in order to do get-ups, windmill, bent press. It's a rotational movement, but you can do it strongly.
And you showed us that move with swiping your leg in. You call it the windshield wiper, right?
Correct. Right. So there's actually two ways to do it, and I can demonstrate for you guys. There's the back leg can turn in, or I prefer the forward leg turning.
Oh,
right?
Yeah,
so I'll show you what I mean. If you'd like, I could.
Yeah, you do it. Please do it. Please do it.
Since I'm at the gym.
Yeah, that's good.
When you're in this position, and when you come up, you can either do this, come up, or you can do this. The forward leg turns. So the forward leg can turn rather than the back leg, right? So let me show one more time.
Yeah.
If I'm in here, I can either do this.
Yes, I do this. That's what you taught us. Yeah.
Or I could do this. The forward leg is going to move into the lunge position rather than my back leg. I prefer the second one, this one here, because it's going to put less torque on my knee. See this knee, when I turn it, into the ground, depending on what type of mats you have, it's going to rotate my kneecap. But this one here, if I do this, not so much. It's less stable, but I prefer it. It's a personal choice.
I really liked it. You said this thing about the kneecap. That's something that I keep feeling when I'm doing the Turkish get-up.
Yeah, so try this. The second one I showed you is you turn your forward leg into the lunge, and then to come back, just go back into the, when you come back down into the get-up, you just turn the forward leg again to end up in this, we call this half open kneeling position, right?
Yeah.
So this is the half open kneeling, where hips move freely, right? So you
And
can the forward leg or the back leg. I prefer the forward leg movement. Try it.
So let me show you how I do it now. And this was such a revelation, let me tell you guys. So I used to go reverse lunge and then start bending. And this creates unnecessary tension or bending, especially in your discs. So this is not safe. So with this version, much better. However, what I felt as well is like he told me, some pressure on your knees. So I started switching in the idea, even just doing the Turkish get up all by itself with more tension. You know, in kettlebell sport, the idea is to be efficient, but here with Hardstyle, what I got from him is more tension, more power, more strength. So I'm having a lot more tension and I work slowly. I even used to bypass this one. I didn't do this phase of the lift. I just pulled my knees in because I wanted to go fast. But now, and now with this position that I'm in right now, I can either turn my back leg or my front leg. And this is revelation. It's better for my knees and more safer for my back.
And I want to do this change of my philosophy justice. I took so much away from this conversation that in that workout that we had on that same day, I really felt it. And I was thinking about it. I was thinking about the tension. I was thinking about everything that he told me. And especially when it comes to the grinding lifts, I had a way better workout. I had more tension, more focus, more of the kime, like Pavel's talking about. And we even did in that workout a small hardstyle type of double-handed swing as a finisher, which was really, really cool. And you see, you always gotta stay open-minded no matter who you are and no matter at what level you're at right now. Can you show us what we were doing wrong?
I have a tendency to just go for the floor right away. So when you're in the lunge position, your legs are parallel, you'll go ahead and reach for the floor. Now
Yep.
I feel it stretching right here, right? So I'm not gonna go all the way down. And I actually felt it when I showed Angie. I felt my back right away, just doing the demonstration. So it just goes to show you sometimes unloaded, even unloaded. And I'll be honest, like I've had back issues in the past. So once you hurt your back one time, it's never the and you're always aware of
it.
the movement. You really want to brace, you want to keep your spine in a safe position. So
Which is such, you know, and that's the reason why I felt after doing what you taught us, it felt so much better. Another thing that I also did was I've applied, because you know when you have the sports style mentality, which really only differs when we talk about the ballistics, the swing, the clean, the snatch. That's it. That's where the difference lies. But in the grinding lifts, I really thought about, listen, man, like you do a heavy deadlift, use your full body as a unit, contract all the necessary stabilizers and muscles to protect yourself. What I like is the Valsalva method of breathing that Pavel talks about, breathing behind the shield, right?
Yep.
And that gives you so much more strength and so much more stability, so much more power, which I also thought about doing the lift more slowly, especially the Turkish get up, and feeling the movement. which really was quite of a game changer to me, because when you walk with the sports style or work with the sports style method, it's always like, can I work as quick as possible, as efficiently as possible, go through the movement. And then I really took that from you guys, just dialing back down and saying, come on, man, with the grindings, you'll work on a different territory. Because like I said, the sport guys don't do those lifts, all right? So I can't get advice from them because they don't do those lifts. So I have to talk to the guys who are proficient at this, all right? And you mentioned something about awareness, which I really like. And what do you think about that? It is something that we sometimes see is, we always tell folks. I just recently had somebody who called us for a coaching session. So we had a Zoom call, and he's a pretty strong dude. He has a boxing background, and he's already into fitness, and he's been lifting weights. And like probably you have encountered so many people now who are saying, man, I used to stick to the gym. Now there's no gym. So what do? All right, I'm discovering the kettlebell. I like them, so I go for it. And then, even though he has a very strong fitness background and a very strong weightlifting background, he said, listen, man, I saw you guys do what you do. And while it looks really awesome, I knew I'm not touching that stuff, or I'm not doing the exercises like this because I need some proper education and coaching first. And I told him, this is self-awareness. Even though you could walk around and say, I got the background, so let me pick up the thing and work with it because I know I'm strong and all that kind of stuff. I told him, I like your sense of self-awareness. So what do you make out of this? Because what I sometimes see, especially in the online world, is I believe that there is some lack of self-awareness when it comes to, especially, the heavy lifts, of course, but when it comes to kettlebells. So what's your experience on that?
Yeah, I think, it comes, like you say, people that, like, this guy has a lot of experience, he's an athlete. If you're an athlete and you're working at a very high level, you want to get coaching, and that's what they value. First of all, it comes to, what do you value? If you value education and doing it the best way, you're gonna hire a coach. You're gonna hire a professional to teach you, because it's gonna be a shortcut. It's gonna be a shortcut.
It's a shortcut.
It's gonna save you time, energy, money, pain.
Yeah.
It's gonna save you perhaps injury.
Yeah.
So it may cost you a little bit of investment up front, but hey, what are the benefits? You're gonna reap rewards for the rest of your life if you realize, if you look at it that way. So it's all in the perspective, and what do you actually value? So people that they don't know that yet, they don't invest in a coach, is because they don't value it yet. They don't see the value in investing in a coach yet. So that's our job, I think, is making that switch for them.
Making them aware, right?
Yeah. Making them see that we can help them get those results that they want. Because people think they can do it on their own. But, if I go to the dentist and I've got a cavity, I'm not going to try to fix my own tooth.
Give me those tools. I can do it myself. Give me those tools. Oh, yeah, you're so right.
It's funny because, sometimes you get on a call with people and they don't really know who you are, right? It's the first time you talk to them. You'll meet someone, they're interested in personal training or kettlebell, whatever, and they'll talk to you and you'll give them your price of your coaching, and they'll start comparing it to the price of a gym membership. It's like, oh, well,
100%.
I can, use the same money and I could invest it in a full year, rather than like 6 weeks or whatever. But I could get you better results in 6 weeks than you can in 2 years training. So it's like,
this is something
we can get the job done a lot quicker.
I like that. I mean, it's value and the shortcut. And what you say is, I like that. It's the experienced athlete or the experienced lifter knows, I need somebody to teach me. I have to humble myself. I have to respect the weights. I have to respect this training method that I don't know nothing about. All right. So I like that. And, even with the pricing that you just mentioned it, which I think is very interesting. So in our place, it happens as well. They're like, listen, I could go to the gym for a full year. And what I always tell them, listen, the statistics are unfortunately pretty sad. 70% of people, after 3 weeks, they stop going because nobody cares for you in those big chains, especially the big chains. I'm not saying the smaller studios where you know, somebody who's really passionate is an owner, yet at the same time a coach who's with you, you cannot compare it to an instructor at a gym who has to take care of 50 people at a Monday night, all right? Because I come from that background. I was an instructor. That's the reason why I went into personal training, because I thought this is not the way how we can help people. It's impossible. That'd be the same like you take your car to the garage, to the mechanic. So it's 50 cars there. There's one mechanic, and he's like, okay, I'm going to try to take care of everything. You're like, what? I want somebody to personally take care of my car or my vehicle. Yet when it comes to the body, people are something, like you said, it's value. It's the value. Man, we're so on the same page. So, Louka, what I'm really interested in, and probably our viewers as well, when they hear it, I checked your Instagram, and you said something about your background story in prison, right? So if you just want to share it, I don't know if you want to share it or, you know, how much you want to share it, but I'm really interested because what you also posted on Angie when she said, what I think it was, I'm paraphrasing, what does the kettlebell mean for you? You said the kettlebell saved my life or something like this, right? So I'm really interested in that, if you want to share.
So when I was in my late teens, I got into drug dealing as a means to cope with, you know, my life situation. My father was an alcoholic. My parents got divorced when I was really young, and I got into selling drugs when I was in high school. And I got into bad situations, started dealing with bad people, and I did some bad things. So my life kind of spiraled out of control when I was 19. And was doing these huge drug deals, with traveling with quantity, and lo and behold, you know, it kind of fell out of control, and I was afraid for my life, and it kind of brought me to a crossroad. You know, by chance, you could say it happened for a reason, but I got arrested and incarcerated in the U.S.
And you're from Canada, right? You're Montreal, so it's Canada.
I'm from Montreal, so I was actually traveling to do a delivery, right? And it happened that my car broke down, and long story short, I got pulled over, and cops arrested me, and I was brought to jail. And at that point, of course, it was my first time getting into trouble like that. My life came to a stop, like dead. You know, I didn't know what was going to happen next. So I was living, let's say, minute by minute, and realized that everything was taken away from me. You know, my belongings, you could say my lifestyle, my friends, couldn't even call my parents, and was put into a situation where I was just left alone. And you realize when everything is taken away from you, think about this. If everything is taken away from you, Gregory, you have no more gym, no more kettlebell, no more girlfriend, no more car, no more clothes. They put you somewhere. They just give you a jumpsuit, and they just give you stuff to eat, and you're locked in a room for 24 hours out of the day, or most of the day. What do you do? What do you do with yourself? So you go inwards. You learn about yourself. You learn about how your mind works. What are you constantly thinking? You know, so there was a lot of that happening. I had a lot of time to retrospect what had happened previously and what led up to that situation. And I got into things that I kind of like had a natural ability for. So I started drawing. I started drawing portraits.
Wow.
I started training with my cellmate. We got into calisthenics. And as time went on, you know, I didn't have much to do, so started reading a lot. I got into Buddhism, got into meditation. Like I said, I became an artist over there. And my situation changed while I was locked up. They transferred me to eventually a prison facility where I spent 5 years. In total, I spent 7 years incarcerated. In
7
total.
years. So that's not something, you know, a small incident where I'm like, hey, I was in jail for a few months. This is doing time, big time.
Very time. But I was lucky because where I was, it wasn't such a harsh place where you see in the movies and you feel like you're gonna die any minute. Like it wasn't like that. It was more chill. You could think of it kind of like a college campus with barbed wire fences,
Okay.
sort of like that, with guards, you know, walking around and keeping an eye on you with cameras on you 24/7, kind of like that. So we were in like dormitories, and eventually I got my own room at the prison where I stayed. And it was a really, really chill place. And I got to meet some wonderful people, you know, people that are like, they're like life friends.
Wow.
And you make these type of bonds with others that you never find anywhere else, not even on the street, maybe with your wife or with your girlfriend, something similar. But the bonds that you make while you're there is like, sometimes you do anything for that person. You got their back, because there, your word means everything. And that's the lesson that I learned is respect and keeping your word, because your reputation will follow you everywhere you go. So that's how people respect you there, and they also respect you for the things that you do. So if you're training, you know, if they see you train and you're going to the gym, we had a gym over there, and you exercise, and people will respect that, you know, because they know you're there, you're taking care of yourself. It's kind of like a survival thing. You know, people will not mess with you if you're stronger.
So that's like
strength was important for me, not only mentally but physically as well. It helped me go through that situation, or also the environment. And I was lucky to stumble upon Pavel's book, one of Pavel's books, Power to the People. While I was there, one of my buddies, he said, hey, check this book out. It's really cool. It's got this, you know, wiry Russian on the cover. He's really hairy. He doesn't look big like Arnold, but he's like skinny, but he's strong. He's like, check out this book. And I read the book, and it changed everything for me. You know, I got obsessed with this guy because everything that he talked about, it worked so well. He kind of deconstructed the science and made it understandable for the layperson to understand in basic terms. And he had such a fun humor to him, even in his earlier books, his first books. And we got a chance to order his books there. And I started reading most of his books. We ordered them, and I ordered one of the Kettlebell books, Enter the Kettlebell, Return of the Kettlebell. We had them, and
which is, if I may interject, Louka, which is, I think, Return of the Kettlebell, Enter the Kettlebell. I believe everybody who touched the kettlebell in a slightly more serious way has heard about either Enter the Kettlebell, Return of the Kettlebell, or Pavel. Because I remember even before meeting and watching stuff from Steve, Pavel was the first thing that came to my mind when it was kettlebell, the Russian dude, right? The ice cold Russian Spetsnaz dude who's talking about this thing with weights and
sure.
That's great.
And the interesting part for me is that when I read about Pavel's book, it wasn't the first thing that came to mind. I didn't know he did kettlebells because it was a barbell book. The Power to the People was just 2 lifts. It was a barbell book. Then I came across the Naked Warrior, which is only body weight. Then after I found out about kettlebell, okay, wow. Only after I found out that this guy teaches this tool, this like really hardcore cannonball with the thick handle. I'm like, what is this? Because I was used to, you know, barbell, dumbbell calisthenics. I had access to those tools. So the kettlebell was brand new and was kind of this exciting thing. I'm like, oh, whoa, when do I get to try this? And one of my buddies was working for the rec department, and he convinced the supervisor to order kettlebells.
Ah, that's cool.
So he had ordered a few kettlebells, a pair of kettlebells, and we got to use them there. 6 months before I got out, I got to experiment with the kettlebells and train with them and practice. And I said, man, this is what I want to do. I got to get certified. This is I found my calling. What am I going to do when I get out? Either I become an artist, do paintings and stuff, or I become an instructor. I do both, you know. So that's where I went. First thing when I got out, I signed up for one of the certs in the area. And I got to meet not Pavel himself, because he wasn't doing any certs anymore at that time. He had stopped. But I met my teacher, John Engum, which is, you could say, his right-hand man. He's the one that does the most certs next to Pavel. And John is amazing. He's a grandmaster in Taekwondo. He's a Kettlebell strong first master instructor, and he teaches another system called flexible steel, which is interesting. It's how to become flexible and strong at the same time.
Flexible steel, right?
So it's a flexibility program, and I'll send you the link here shortly.
Yeah.
But
Please do.
it's all based on Pavel's stuff, because they learned it together. So when I was in prison, I was reading about these guys. I was reading about John Engum and Pavel and all these other guys, Mark Chang, all the people that Pavel was working with. And these guys became my mentors. They became like my role models while I was there. It's like, man, I gotta meet these guys some way. I gotta find a way to actually, you know, shake their hands, which I did. When I got out, I say, you know, I gotta go somewhere where these guys are teaching. And I did. I fulfilled that dream, and eventually I got to meet Pavel, and I met him several times, you know, and we became friends. And now I work for him.
You know what? This is such a beautiful story, and what it shows to me is two things. It's, first of all, the power of determination. It's like, and we always say, you know, it's in a much less, let's say, like in a much less dire situation. But when people try to lose weight, we always tell them, if you have a anchor point, because that's what we focus on, right? Helping people lose weight with the nutrition coaching and kettlebells. And we always tell them, listen, if you have a strong anchor point, something that pulls you, or something that was your intrinsic motivational factor that led you to the fact that you were building a habit, because we believe building habits is something that will outlast motivation. You're just used to doing it. That's why you do it. Right? So it's that anchor point that you're looking for. And now when I hear these stories, it's, for me, it's like these anchor points is like the determining factor. It's like you went into prison, you had, I liked it, you said, I had to go inside of myself, because you don't have no distraction, and which requires in my opinion, which requires a very strong mindset, a very durable mindset, because if everything's taken away from you, I don't know how I would react. But it's like either I go inside or I go crazy. And what you did is you were so determined, because like you've commented on Angie's post, it changed your life, or it saved your life. So it was like, I gotta meet these guys, I gotta talk to these guys, I gotta do whatever's necessary to get there. And that's the one thing that I see, because that was in my case with Steve, because I knew I gotta get certified. And in my area, I live in Switzerland, you know, in our area locally, yes, you have some RKC stuff, you have some Dragon Door stuff, but that's more far away. So I was like, listen, I gotta get the man, and I've saved the money. He told me the price. I said, okay, gotta wait a little bit. And then in 2019, I was like, I got the money. Come here, man, because I need your knowledge. I need the wisdom. I want to get into this. And like you said, I discovered the kettlebell. If you come from a lifting background, like you train, right? And it's something that stick with you. And in my case, it's the same. And now the kettlebell is like, it's like a magnet. It's something that's inside of it, training with it, the feeling, the vibe. It's just, it's hard to describe, right? And the second thing that I see is so many martial arts guys discover or talk about the kettlebell, which I think is so interesting. People who have a martial arts background, like Steve, like Pavel talks about it. I think you talked about it on your Instagram, which is something that I see it's so applicable in martial arts. And somebody commented on our YouTube channel, somebody said, you guys are the MMA of kettlebell training. And I was, or YouTube kettlebell, something like this. And I was like, wow, that's a great idea for a video. I was like thinking about why the kettlebell is the MMA of weightlifting. Because it's so versatile, right? And man, that's a pretty strong story. That's why
I can agree on that. And I could say that if you want to put it that way, kettlebell training is a martial art. Because the way we approach it is more of a practice than a workout.
Ooh, I like that.
So we always
like
look
that.
at the training in terms of perfecting, rather than, hey, I'm gonna try to do as much as possible.
Yes.
And focus on the reps and all this. But it's not really about the kettlebell. Really, for us, it's not just the kettlebell. It's the principles. It's how we use it. So we want to put quality as a priority in our in our approach.
And
it's
practice.
When we train, it's how we set up for it. It's like it's almost like a ritual, right? You set up and you set it down, and then you calm down, right? And whenever you do your set, you're 100% there. You're not anywhere else, because us, we favor at Strong First. We favor heavy weights. Right, but safely. Of course, people are kind of some people are afraid of heavy weights. Oh, heavy weights will, tend to get hurt. But if you do it in a safe way, it doesn't mean you have to kill yourself or push hard. But you're still lifting heavy. Lifting heavy. And like you mentioned in the grinds is the tension, and we apply the same principles to ballistics, which is tension and relaxation. Tension, so it's a mix of tension and relaxation to get that speed. And I was studying Professor Stuart McGill. I don't know if you ever heard of him before. But
it's in the book Simple Sinister. Yeah. Yes.
He's done a lot of he's a spine biomechanicist, and he does a lot of tests with athletes. So he put like sensors throughout the body and figure out the pulse. Meaning that how does the muscle react to contraction? So like a fast contraction, and how intense will the contraction go, right? So the speed and the rate of relaxation as well. So in the swing, in the hardstyle swing, and actually he invited Pavel to his lab, and Pavel tested a few exercises there, such as one-arm swings and other grinds. He did a parallel study with one of the best MMA fighters in history, George St. Pierre.
Yeah, legend.
And he matched actually both the roundhouse kick of George St. Pierre to the one-arm swing to Pavel.
Wow.
And they almost matched into the rate of muscular tension and relaxation.
Right.
So that when you look at the way they perform it, they produce force from the ground. And the force transfers throughout their body into the core and out through the limbs. There's a pulse. When they hit the target, there's tension, heart contraction. And when you become very skilled, one of my teachers broke this down. He says, try to break down, and actually talks about it, Pavel talks about it in the book SNS. He says, if you break down the swing in one rep, you break down one rep of the kettlebell swing, and you break it down into 10 frames, frame by frame. The beginner will start tension through the 9th or 10th frame, right? But the skilled practitioner will start tension through the last part of the 10th frame. The end of the 10th frame, he'll start the tension. So, it's really about timing, knowing the timing.
It's like, is it like, if I understand it correctly, is it like loading an arrow or loading a bow?
So there's a double pulse in the swing. First pulse happens when you're pushing off the ground, but to initiate your swing.
Initiate the movement, yeah.
Right, and at the top is the brace. Boom, when your hips lock out, and then the kettlebell floats up. The hips are locked out before, actually, before the kettlebell will float. So it's at the hip lockout that is the second pulse. So there's two pulses happening. The first one to initiate the power, and then at the top with the lockout.
Yeah. And see, that's a difference in the sport method, where actually, which is so interesting to see. And I was thinking about it because I'm going to do a video about the Russian swing, right? So I wanted to title the video, but I think I have to do a separate video on this because there is no Russian swing, in my opinion.
It's all Russian, right?
not in that way, not in that sense. But the idea is there is no Russian swing because kettlebell sport is jerk, snatch, and long cycle. Yes, there is a swing phase. Yet, in the clean, it's only the backswing. In the snatch, it's only the backswing. In the long cycle, it's only the backswing. And of course, when you come out of the lift, of course, working with gravity. And that's what I like about, you mentioned practice. That's what I like about the sports style, especially with the doubles, where you work with gravity in a different way, and fending off gravity, counterbalancing, and compensating for gravity. I liked it. I like these aspects. And so there is no swing in that regard because they don't do a swing motion all by themselves. And sometimes that's even a funny thing when I see sport guys. I think I saw one sport guy do a swing which looked pretty interesting to me. I was like, that's interesting. It doesn't even look like my swing. And I see where I get all these influences together, where I feel like that's what we teach our clients as well, is once you're in the lockout, once the bell is up front and it's a float, knees and hips are locked, right? So the only difference maybe is we lean back a little bit and we catch it a little softer, yet the idea is that those joints are locked, right? And so what I want to just dial back to is the practice mentality, which you have just, I had to write this down. It's more practice than a workout, which I see the huge difference between athletes, coaches, guys who do it professionally, guys who are so incredibly in love with it that they want to perfect it, and those who do it more casually, right? Which this is like I said, I knew when I was talking to you, I'm gonna get those enlightening moments because I'm always looking for them. I never thought about this.
It's like a next level mindset, because practice is more like you're more fine tuning. You know, you're trying to you're always trying to aim higher.
Higher,
So
yeah.
you're looking for that perfect rep, always being aware, right? Whereas, you know, Pavel talks about it, the word workout, and people talk about it, use it casually, literally means to work yourself out.
Yeah.
You're tired at the end, but the fatigue should only be a byproduct of the practice, should only be a cause, you know, or like more, the effect. Effect of, you know, working, challenging your body.
Yes.
Not striving to get tired.
Yes.
Not, you know, you should be able to manage your fatigue while keeping quality high.
Yes. Not aiming for fatigue only and then quantifying or qualifying your workout that it was a good one because I feel like trash after the workout, right? That's and that's what I got from the Simple and Sinister book as well. Is what I really like is, imagine like a soldier up on the field. He always has to have some energy in the tank because if stuff hits the fan, you got to be ready. And I like that mentality. We even tell it to our clients. That sometimes in our YouTube workouts, we sometimes got even the feedback, well, the finisher or the workout wasn't as intense, or the finisher wasn't as intense. And I'm always like, guys, it's not about killing yourselves, man. It's about using that perfect capacity, understanding where your capacity level is, and then striving to build upon it, not kill it, or not to go above and beyond, because if you go above and beyond, you probably don't feel as well. And I like that. It should be challenging, but it's not destroying yourself, right? That's the idea that I really took from the book as well, which I really, really love.
You know, it's okay to do workouts. It's great. It's something that your body needs, but I think, and it's proven research that your body can only tolerate one hard workout a week. You know, and you look at top athletes, they're going to do 20% or less and the rest 80% is going to be medium to low intensity. You know, they're just kind of like, you could say, greasing the groove or maintenance work. You know, just punch the clock type of training. So, you know, workouts are great. So you'll do a workout, and one of my teachers put it, it made sense what he said. He said, a workout is something where it's a standalone, you could say, event, which whereas it has nothing to do with the previous session or the next session. But if you put into consideration the whole, that you're going to do it again tomorrow or what you did the day before, it has to kind of be progressive, or there has to be some sort of, you could say, build up. So you could start easy and then build up to something more intense, and you have to wave that intensity, because progress is not linear. You're not going to keep making progress. If you keep pushing your body, your good body's going to break down.
That I think that's what
back off, and you push a little bit more.
100%. I think that's what beginners are struggling with. They're like, I need more volume. I need heavier weights. Because I took these 4 progressive rules from Dennis, which I really love. Is before we even mess with the weights, we can do more time with the exercise. We can do more reps, do them faster. We can decrease the rest between the exercises or the workouts. And then the 4th rule is we can increase the weight. And he said that I like that. And he said something which I call now death by 1,000 cuts. It's you do thousands of repetitions, and that's the reason why you lack your technique. It's thousands of reps, and I don't care whether somebody's telling me, I said that in a recent video, I don't care if somebody's telling me, well, he's only using the 16, or he's only using the 20, or I don't care about that, because I'm about perfecting the technique, right? Which is see, and that's why I see we have so much in common. That's why I really wanted to do this.
Talk about it. He says, training is like putting money in the bank. You could spend it on fight night.
Oh, I like that.
Training is like putting money in the bank, so you can spend it on fight night.
I like that.
So it's like, if you think about that mentality when you're training, you never go to exhaustion. You're putting money in the bank, right? You keep some reserves, all right? And then that's the way strength is, you know, because you'll feel your body's going to get stronger, like you're accumulating it after a while. And then you just, you know, you want to spend it. So you just push for a PR once in a while.
Yep.
Once in a while. And then you feel destroyed for like a week after. You know, so
100%.
Similar thing, right? So Pavel also calls it flipping the crazy switch, where one day where you're feeling strong, you just go crazy. But you do it once in a while. You know, you don't do it. Shouldn't be your mindset.
Just going, I like that. And I actually got that sometimes when we're working out. And after the interview that I had with Dennis, he was like, man, just downgrade those weights, like the death of 1,000 cuts technique. And because I told him I liked his humble approach. Because I mean, he's a master of sports, so he works with 232s, with jerks and snatch with 1, and the long cycle, which is and the 10-minute set. And when you see him train and when you see him do stuff, it's like he starts working with the 24. He goes easy, and then he's like, then I pick up the 32, and then I have to, because I reacted to one of his workouts. And I told him, man, you got such a humble approach. You're an 11-time world champion. You could be like, let's do it. And he said, well, that's probably the reason why I'm an athlete, is because I take a lot of safety precautions, right? And I'm respecting the weight, which I really dig. And what you said is, how'd you call it? Training is putting money in the bank and you spend it on fight night. Right. I think there is a Latin word for this, which I'm really thinking about getting this tatted on my body, because it says si vis pacem para bellum. And that says, if you want peace, prepare for war. Correct. Right? So it's that mentality, which I really, really, really dig. Louka, just one thing that I really want to get into, and we brushed on it a little bit, is giving feedback on or how should we as the coaching community approach this idea of, correcting? Because you said it, and I'm gonna have to preface this and build a premise, and then I want your response to it.
Sure.
I made that video when you shared your approach, which I really enjoyed. It's like asking for permission and then sharing your input, right? Which I really enjoyed, and I said this in the video. I posted it on Instagram, and then somebody said, and this guy or this gal had a point. Because the person said, well, it sounds a little bit funny if you say it, Gregory, pointed towards me, because you are doing reactions and reviewing and critiquing folks without their permission.
Right.
So you're saying, while you're telling the other coach, I think that's the right approach, you yourself are not doing it with these reviews and critiques, not asking for permission. And I was thinking about it. I was like, man, you got a point. Yet, I think the reason why I didn't think about this is I consider reviews, critiques, and reactions as something different than
it's a little more playful and on the entertaining side, and there's no harm in it.
100%.
But I think when you go on someone's IG and it becomes personal, and when you're directing at them personally that comment or trying to engage with them. I think it's all in engaging with the person and how you do that. Mm-hmm. But there's no harm in having fun, which is quite entertaining actually. So
yeah, it's some entertainment value behind it, yes. And the point that this person got was, you said it, the playfulness, that's one thing. And then, I'm always trying to keep it as respectful as possible, even though we have one video which got completely, it's not misunderstood. I saw this from in other sections and other areas as well. When tribalism kicks in, folks are going mad. Because if I start not correct, just giving feedback or just posting my point of view on let's say a very well-known coach, put whatever name you want in there, then guys from that camp will come to his or her defense.
Correct.
And this is something that I learned the hard way. If there isn't even a hard way, now I look at it, it's like, that's normal. People started disliking the video because I was reacting to Mark Wildman. I think he got over 100,000 subscribers, one of the biggest kettlebell channels. And he had a video with Jack Black. And folks were mad. And I was like, I rewatched the reaction. I was like, man, wow, what did I say? I rewatched it. I was like, I think I was respectful.
People will take things personally.
Yeah.
And you can't help that.
Yeah.
You just can't help that. But as a coach, you got to point out right and wrong. And I'm not, Mike, I don't know so much about Mark Wildman's background and where he learned, but not everyone is perfect, so.
Word up.
So I understand where you're coming from as well, but why don't you invite him on your podcast and you guys can talk?
People created, funny, people created something out of it. And I was like, listen, the reason why I did this video is because Jack Black's in it.
Correct.
Not because of Mark, because of Jack Black. And after I got all these pushback, I was like, okay, I'm going to have to watch a few more videos of this guy. And I was like, okay, well, totally fine. But still, I think that the stuff that I said from my experience, my opinion, some things that he said didn't make sense. So that's why I said, well, I doesn't make sense, but maybe I'll be enlightened. Maybe I'm learning stuff along the way. And then I'm like, oh, now I understand what this person is saying. But that was really, really funny. Yeah. And I think that's a tribalism. So how would be your approach, Louka, to say, how do you approach it as a coach? What's the idea as the coaching community? Should we, go to the coach directly? Should we critique them and do our own stuff? What's your idea?
It all depends on your values and what you believe is right and what you feel compelled to do. If you feel compelled to approach this person because, hey, they might be doing it the wrong way, they can hurt themselves, then do that. Because, hey, you might save this person a lower back injury down in the future. It's like being at the gym. Like, let's say if you went inside a commercial gym, right, and you watch this trainer teach someone else kettlebells. You're not going to go over to the trainer, put him down and say, hey, don't do it like this. But the way I would approach it is I was kind of casually maybe ask and maybe get the person's attention, bring him over, maybe wait till he's finished with his client, talk to him after, and show him the correct way. I'm not gonna put them down in front of someone else.
Yeah,
That's
that's
gonna make them feel. That's gonna make them feel bad. So it's gonna make them look bad in front of their clients too. So it's not professional. But I understand what you're doing. It's not the same. I wouldn't say it's the same because you're doing it for entertainment purpose, but also in a way for you to put your perspective and say, look, this is the way we do it, and they should teach it like this instead. So,
And the funny thing even about how I do it now is, even when I reacted to Simple and Sinister, there were folks who came up to me and said, listen, Pavel changed the weight classes in the revised edition. I didn't know that. So, and I said, oh, that's great. I didn't know. It's just from my perspective, these weights sounded a little bit tricky. Yet, I'm not saying, and I wanted to say this in the video, I'm not saying that people cannot do it. It's just from my perspective.
There's always a term that we use in the fitness industry. Someone asks a question, and the answer is, it depends.
Yeah,
because
context.
Specific. You look at someone that's just starting, that have never done anything in their life, and I'll start them with 4 kilos, 6 kilos, just doing a press, or just doing whatever, halos, or you name it, right? It depends, man. You can't put everyone into one box. But I understand also Pavel's point of view, because we emphasize strength. That's like our priority. But the way we teach someone here at our kettlebell club is we break Simple and Sinister even further down. Right? So we even take our time. So we go even lighter kettlebells, and we may not go to swings right away.
We do that. Yeah.
Deadlift. They might do deadlifts for a while.
We do that as well. Yeah.
Floor presses for a while.
Yes.
And then get stronger in the pressing movement. We might add some assistance exercises like rowing, or we might do more squats. Squat, work on their mobility, work on their T-spine mobility. He doesn't put all that in the book, of course, because I don't think he meant it to be like an encyclopedia of like, you need to do all this before. And,
which is probably impossible to do, right? Because it's like you said, this is one of the most important principles of coaching or structuring a program in general is specificity. You have to see, okay, what do this person need? And it's so great that you're saying, man, sometimes we're just starting with some deadlifts, starting with some squats, starting with an easy press. We do that as well. Because the ballistics are hard to control, so just, hey man, take it easy. Yet I can just recall from a new client, she started yesterday. She has such great mobility. She has such a great triggering mechanism. She knows how to move her body. So I told her, listen, in your case, probably next week, we're going to take a look at the swing. Because you're already there. I can see it, that's the coach's eye, right?
The body language.
Yeah, body language.
Someone that has the body language of they can move it like athletically.
Yes.
However, there's another expression, maybe you've heard of it before. You can't shoot a cannon out of a canoe. You can't shoot a cannon out of a canoe. So maybe you could do it once, but it's gonna blow up, right? So it's like you can't teach someone how to be powerful if they don't have a reserve of strength. Right? So we gotta make them stronger first. The first thing we work on is building their strength. And then we work on the power. The power is gonna come. Learning the lockout, learning how to produce force, learning how to produce speed. That's gonna come later on. So a beginner doesn't know that yet. They don't.
And that's something that we touched on as well in the beginning, is why I believe it's so important that people talk to a coach who can take care of them and just get those inputs, like you said, with the strength reserves and building power, building momentum, understanding how the body's supposed to react, and how we see it sometimes. It's somebody, Knees Over Toes guy is his name. It's a YouTube channel. And he said, it's like, I like this analogy. He said, it's like looking at Chinese for the rest of your life without somebody showing you an entry point. You will waste the rest of your life looking at language or looking at science that you won't understand. Yet you're telling yourself, I'm going to get better. The next day, I'm gonna take a look at it for 4 hours instead of 2. And from a book from, I forgot the name, but it's seven Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. He said it's the same thing if you have the right idea yet the wrong map inside of your head. So I like this analogy. It's like, hey, this place is supposed to be here. Yes, it's supposed to be here, but you got the wrong map. So if I'm in Los Angeles, yet I have the roadmap of New York in my head, I'm at the wrong place. I have the right map, but I'm at the wrong place, right? So that's why I think it's so important for people to get coaching.
Yeah, people try to figure out by themselves, and they're gonna learn the hard way.
Yeah.
They're gonna learn the hard way. It takes more time. It's like going to school all over again and learning a trade you don't really want to learn. You know, it's like, I don't want to fix my car. I'm not gonna learn how to be a mechanic. Take it to a mechanic. Let him do the job for you.
Yeah.
You know, like you mentioned before.
And one thing that I really want to mention that I'm really interested in your opinion is, how do you classify and what do you consider these guys or coaches who work with the kettlebell who are neither nor? Because when I started, I remember when I started, the first lesson that I got, the first teaching that I got, I now look back at it and I'm like you said, you know, the revelation and enlightening moment when you advance. Now I look back at it and I can tell you with certainty, it was neither sport nor hardstyle.
Okay.
It was, what do you make out of this? Or how do you approach this even?
Well, maybe it's because people don't know the difference. Sometimes, you know, I'll ask someone, do you know the difference? Do you know that there's two styles? And you could say there's a combination hybrid style as well. Mm-hmm. And then it's making the distinction for someone that doesn't know. So it comes with knowledge. You just have to educate them and let them know that, hey, this is the way we teach it. There are two styles, but you know, you can learn both as well. It's possible. Mm-hmm. So I think you have to ask someone, what do you want to learn? What do you want to achieve? What is your goal? Whether it's someone off the street, they just want to get better, be fit, or a coach. Maybe they want to specialize. And they see, you know, they might look at you and Angie and say, wow, this is beautiful. Right? They really resonate with that. Otherwise, you may look at other, you know, more hardcore people, martial artists that do karate or hardcore sports, they prefer hardstyle. Right? So I think it's for the coaches, let's say for us, we're specialists, but for others that are just getting into kettlebells, because now it's becoming mainstream.
Yes.
And
which is a good thing. Don't you think it's a good thing?
Absolutely. Even 2 years ago, it wasn't that mainstream. But just now, everyone's doing it on IG. And maybe like I didn't have the privilege of learning from others. So I learned from books, you know, just by reading and learning on my own. So now you look online, you hashtag kettlebell, there's all kinds of advanced stuff. But I think people try to jump the gun and try to get to level 5 before they go to level 0. So they have to really groove the fundamentals first, which is movement. Learning the movement of the hip hinge. What's a hip hinge? What's a squat? Right? How do you perfect your squat? How do you get up? How do you do a press? Get the mechanics first.
Yes.
You get the mechanics, then you apply the tension, you apply the breathing, you got it. Then you could do all the fun stuff. You see, the reason why the Russians don't swing is because they don't have any shoulder mobility issues or T-spine mobility issues that we do have here in North America.
Ooh, I like that.
So they can't do overhead yet. They're not ready for that. So we teach the swing, which is easier for them. They don't have to do any overhead, but we build their mobility and their stability with the get up. We prepare them for snatch, jerks, and all that stuff with the get up. It builds them that stability. So you could say the steps before the snatch, the jerk, push, press, all that stuff is learning the movement, the body language of the hip drive with the swing, and building the stability, the core strength, and the control with the get up.
I like that.
That's why we use it.
I like that methodology, chronically speaking, how you approach it. And what I also like is, wow, I didn't think about this. It's in this area that we live in, people with back pain, people with sitting on a desk all day,
They don't have this.
And that's funny thing. Yeah, 100%. It's sometimes that's what you see. That's so fun. I like it that's why I love talking to guys like you, because I see so many similarities. It's when we talk to folks, like when they do a press first, it's like before we even pick up a weight, just stretch your arms out. And then tell me if, just stretch it out and tell me if it is fully locked. And they do this. I'm like, are you sure this is fully locked? 100%. They're like, and then their upper body starts rising because of all the mobility issues. But that's something, really extending the arm, using the force of your muscles and being able to move. And that's one thing that I want to touch on a bit. And then I think we have to close, because I have in 20 minutes, I have a client coming up. I'd love to talk to you for another hour, man. I really love it, really enjoy it. But I saw you did the functional movement system as well. And I did it. And one thing that I took from Greg Cook and Co. is move well, move often. And I like this. It's to this day. I think I did it 3 years ago. And I like the idea of before moving well, there's a stop to it. Understanding how your body works and mobility issues, get them out of the way. And then you move often. And then you load it. It just resonates.
I love FMS for its principles and the safety aspect. And I think it's also for the coach, it's for us to have the coach's eye and be able to tell it, is this person ready for this? I've taken the FMS many times. However, I don't use it with my clients a lot. The reason why is because people starting off right away, they may find those techniques or those assessments a little invasive, because they're gonna feel really awkward. I'd say most of them are not even able to get into the proper position to start.
Yeah.
So
with these 3 movements, or was it 4?
7.
It's 7, yes.
7,
and then basing it on the score, right?
Yeah, so we use the first 2, which is active straight leg raise and the shoulder mobility. And I use a few of my own. I use the squat and the toe touch, just to see if someone can actually touch their toes when they come inside my club. Can you squat? How does your squat feel? Correct their squat. I know already when I look at them, I can see already their problem. I can tell based on their posture, the way they walk in, and the way they carry themselves, what they need to work on. So I don't need to assess, because I already assessed them when they walk through the door. I can tell that their T-spine is tight, is grounded forward.
Like so many people have.
They need to work on that, and they need to open up their shoulders. So when we, check out their toe touch or their squat, we need to do some hip mobility and some strengthening. So we go over that first. We do lots of foam rolling, some breathing exercises. We do mobility, stretching, and a lot of stability work. And before they even start lifting the kettlebell, we teach them the principles of tension, on breathing, on how to make the mind-muscle connection between the midsection muscles. Because I'll ask someone, hey, do you feel your abs? Like, what's happening there? It's like, no. Or they say, I'm pulling my stomach in. They say, yeah, I'm pulling. No, that's not how you do it. You gotta force it down.
Yes, understanding the breathing methods. Yep.
You gotta compress the air.
And
so
you
once
said
they get that, it just falls into place, and their movements become stronger. Even if it's just body weight, even if they're just doing a body weight squat, everything is together. They look stronger. Right? They feel stronger, and then we build them up like that. Kettlebell is gonna come later on. I think body weight is the first thing someone's got to master. Is control. They got to control their own body weight.
100%. Just mastering the movement and triggering those muscles. It's like when I'm telling folks sometimes, do you feel your back? So it's like, my lower back. No, not your lower back. If you protract or retract your shoulder, do you feel the lats? When I can do this and I instantly feel it. And folks be like, no, I don't feel it. So I'm like, okay, you don't feel it yet. That's totally fine. And what I also think is, this is one thing that they get to triggering first, understanding. And sometimes we have people who have so much problem understanding what even the chest up, and they're going down into the deadlift with the chest up and your tailbone sticking out with a straight back. They don't feel it. This takes time. And what I always see, and I said like 90% of the cases, it's the hip and the shoulder. They're both always tricky and tight. So, and what I did with the FMS is I've tried to incorporate it. And then I was like, because, you know, in my case with the personal training and weight loss, you know, we have a little bit of a different specialty. So it's like when people, we want to get it going as soon as possible with the safest moves as possible. So then I found with these 7 movements, like you said, it's awkward sometimes. Sometimes they don't get even in the right position. They have a lot of trouble. And then sometimes they feel so out of place and out of touch that maybe they go home feeling totally frustrated. What I really want to avoid. And so what I have is, like you said, I see it. That's one thing, screening, seeing how people move. And once they start the warm up, or how, you know, you said it, you got your own moves. You see when you have some biomechanical and some anatomical understanding of the muscles, you see where the problems are, and then you work from there, right? And see, it's another same venue that we took with FMS, trying to implement it, and then feeling like, okay, well, maybe I have to do it my own style. And what I really took from the course is the overhead squat. It's just the overhead squat demonstrates the how your lower and upper body can work together. Mm-hmm. Just stretching your arm, going down into a squat. This is something that I took from FMS. So much good stuff. And I see so many similarities, Louka, man. I really enjoy this, man. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it's been a ball. Thank you, Gregory.
So thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this kettlebell content. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart that you are joining us, that you have watched this video, all the likes, all the feedback, all the comments, and even the dislikes. We love you guys. Thank you.